the best. Well, does it get any better than this? No, I don't think so, really, to be honest. If you've never tried trail riding, I mean, come on. Oh, by the way, these are my notes. Anyway, let's turn the bike off so I don't get stuck here forever. Okay, so the end of year review for the Honda CRF300L, and as some of you might know, I swapped my rally for this about 6 months ago, so I haven't done an enormous amount of miles on it. So I've done around 1,300 miles, and pretty much all of those miles have been on the trails or getting to the trails, hence, you know, the relatively limited mileage. But I'll tell you what, I've had an absolutely brilliant time. So what have I learnt in those 6 months and 1,300 miles, and have I changed my mind about anything? No, I mean, the good points remain, to be honest. You know, everything that I've said in the previous reviews. It's easy to use, it's easy going, and it is fabulous for the kind of trails that I want to ride and how I want to ride them. You know, so I view it as an exploring bike, and for doing that, gentle exploring, but it'll still get you everywhere. It has been completely fabulous, and it's done everything that I've wanted it to do. Bad points? For me, again, for the type of riding I'm doing, there's no real bad points. Sure, everyone will go on about the suspension and maybe the engine isn't powerful or torquey enough, you know, or whatever. But, you know, you buy these machines, you know, with your eyes wide open, really, to be honest. I think everybody knows what the CRF300L is now. Yes, it's got soft suspension. If you want to go a little bit faster on rougher ground, you probably do want to upgrade the suspension. But again, for what I want to do, exploring trails nice and gently, just pottering around, it is fabulous. So yeah, no real bad points. I'm really struggling here. You know, it's done everything that I wanted it to do perfectly. So would I change anything? No, I mean, I've put everything on it that I want to put on it, we know, which is mainly protective, you know, so obviously the rally handguards and the bash plate, the Asabis bash plate and the rack, and that's pretty much it, to be honest. Of course, the only thing that I will be changing is getting some more aggressive tyres on it, because I think the way that I'm using this bike is that it doesn't overlap with any of my other machines, really. So it is pretty much a pure trail bike and getting to the trail kind of bike. So I will be putting some more aggressive tyres on, because it's going to get muddy quite soon. So I'm thinking probably Michelin trackers, which are not very good for the road and they do wear quickly, but you know, if I do 1,500 miles a year and I can get that on them, then I'll be happy. So yeah, that's the only change that I'm going to make. I'm certainly not, as you know, going to put a louder pipe on it, because I really don't like loud pipes at all, particularly on the trails, and loud pipes save lives. I've said it before, what a load of old pants that is. So, have I thought about any other bikes to replace the CRF300L? Not really, although, as you know, having the motorcyclist brain, it's always whirring, isn't it, and thinking about something else. But with the type of riding that I'm doing, you know, which is trail ride, gentle trail riding and kind of more exploring than anything else, although I've got the desire for lots of bikes, from a need perspective, there's nothing more that I need than this. I mean, I did have the hots for the Suzuki DRZ4, the new one, and I think if I was 30 years younger, then I'd probably go for that. But you know, I wouldn't use the capabilities of it. I think it's probably, for me now, it's a little bit too tall. The suspension is probably a little bit too stiff, and I certainly wouldn't use the extra power, even though I think I wouldn't at all. So yeah, the DRZ, I still think it's a really fabulous bike for the right people, and I think also the money is kind of understandable, you know, the price that you pay for it. The other bike that I was looking at, you know, when the biker brain is whirring and you're looking at all the adverts and reviews and stuff, was the Beta Alp, the off-road one with the 21-inch front wheel. I think it's got a 21-inch front wheel. And I quite like that, because it looked really quirky and quite interesting. But then I think, who was the reviewer on YouTube? I think it was Nathan the Postman. So he got one for his fleet of bikes down in Dorset or wherever it is that he lives, and he was really keen for it because he thought it could be a really good bike. But I think he took it back after a few weeks because the fueling wasn't great and he wasn't too chuffed about some of the quality aspects of it. Yeah, so yeah, the Beta Alp, that sort of got crossed off the list. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's anything else much out there which is kind of equivalent to the CRF300L and the kind of riding that I want to do, really. You know, they're either too much aggressive or a lot more aggressive, you know, like the Beta Cross Trainer, as you all know. I absolutely adore that bike, but what would I do with it? God, it wouldn't be any good for me at all. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to replace this at all. So it's going to stay in the shed for quite some time, until such a point that my body, my motivation, my risk appetite or whatever just feels as though I don't want to do any more trail riding. So, but hopefully I've got a good few more years with this. And like I say, I don't think there's anything else out there. I mean, you can come on these trails, you can do all of these trails every, once a year, change the oil and filter, and it'll just keep going. So it's cheap to run, easy to ride, and quite capable as long as you're prepared to put up, with its obvious limitations of suspension and maybe the engine power and the delivery. But for me, it's absolutely spot on. Okay, so while we're here, let's have a quick advert for the general beauty and fabulousness of trail riding. So if you've thought about trail riding and you've wondered what it's all about, and you've wondered why people like going out when it's wet and snotty and muddy and riding on rocks and ruts and stuff, well, trail riding is about that, and that is rather good fun. But it's also about this as well. Just coming to this beautiful, beautiful place where it's tranquil, gorgeous, quiet, life affirming, and just generally fabulous. So if you are interested in trail riding and you've never done it before, certainly consider a bike like the CRF300L to get you going. You can learn on it, but it'll also allow you to grow into trail riding as well. And of course, here in the UK, find out where your local group of the Trail Riders Fellowship is and give them a call, or go around to one of their meetings. They'll let you know and give you some really good advice on what to do, where to go, and also people to ride with, which is also like a really good thing. So yeah, if you've never tried trail riding, it's never too late. Start off easy, start off on a bike that doesn't intimidate you, call the Trail Riders Fellowship, have a chat with them, and you could be here. I mean, this place is 5 minutes away on a bike. It took me 5 minutes to ride here, but it's probably half an hour to walk, and there's no way you'd get a normal bike down here. And it is beautiful. It feels like a world away. And I think, as I said in a previous video, it really is like stepping through the back of the wardrobe in the Narnia Chronicles and finding yourself in a different place. It's wonderful, it's life affirming, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and it's also exciting on a bike. So if that's not the perfect advert for trail riding, I don't know what is. As with all videos on YouTube where an owner is blathering on about their bike and pointing out the good and bad points, I think it's always useful to understand what that person is using the bike for and what other bikes they might have in the garage. So just very quickly, alongside the CRF300L, I've also got a Guzzi V7 Mark II Stornello and my scooter, which is the ADV350. And as you can see from the Venn diagram, they don't really overlap in terms of usage that much. So I use the CRF300L pretty much mainly for trail riding and riding to those trails. So that means, snotty roads. I ride it in all sorts of weathers, and mainly it's used for short distance. So I don't have to use it for commuting, I don't have to use it for going to work, and it's not my only bike. So when you're listening to these comments, and you might violently disagree, just bear in mind the context of the usage. And I hope you liked the Venn diagram. I mean, who doesn't? So I've talked about the overlap of bikes, or the non-overlap, with some of my other bikes. And like I say, from a Venn diagram perspective, not much of an overlap for this, but I can see myself in the future perhaps going for something less traily and probably more gravelly. So some of the things that I've kind of been thinking about that I might buy at some point is a halfway house between the CRF and maybe the Moto Guzzi, which sounds like an abomination, I don't know, but no, but something like the Fantic Caballero 500, 450cc, nice and light, 19-inch front wheel, because I won't get the rally version, and then it's a good compromise if I don't want to do these kind of lanes anymore, but it's still good for gravel, because I like getting a bike dirty and I like going through puddles. So maybe something like the Fantic Caballero, might be in my future. But for the moment, the CRF300 does everything that I want it to do. It's a fabulous, fabulous bike. So in summary then, the CRF300L has been exactly the bike I wanted and exactly the bike that in reality I absolutely need for doing these kind of trails and doing some gentle exploring. Yeah, it's been fabulous. I'm really looking forward to the next few years, getting some nice tyres on it and just enjoying myself on these trails. Undemanding, no pressure, but it'll allow me to get absolutely everywhere. And as I say, I can't really think of any other bike that will allow me or anybody else to do that. I think it's virtually in a class of its own. And, you know, if you've ever thought about trail riding and you want to get started, perfect bike to start on, perfect bike to grow with. And if you're wondering what trail riding is all about, I mean, isn't this the most perfect advert for what trail riding is all about? I mean, come on. It's just lovely. It's just lovely. Right, on that note, let's move on to the next bike. State of this. Oh, get myself into some places, I do.